Greetings, all! Today, we will be examining the relatively rare flying dark-type Pokemon Bombirdier, the Item Drop Pokémon. While they might not come off as the most dangerous of birds at first glance, Bombirdier are devious fowl that can make themselves a nuisance to those that can't avoid their airborne attacks.
Bombirdier have large, elegant frames with white feathers covering most of their form, save for the dark black feathers that can be found on the inside of their wings, tail, lower torso, and upper legs. They have a lithe neck and head with a long orange beak and three-toed orange feet with black talons, 3 digits in the front and 1 on the back for stability, while they also sport a small feather crest on the back of their head and a large pouch of feathers on the front around the base of their neck that they use for transporting objects like a built-in sling.
Bombirdier are notably different from most other bird Pokemon in that, while they naturally shed their feathers over time, they do not get rid of them in any capacity, instead choosing to make use of the discarded structures to make a living for themselves in the wild.
The ends of the feathers of these creatures naturally secrete an oil that hardens with exposure to the air as a way of keeping them clean, but it takes time for this oil to harden, and it tends to be released the most just before the feathers are actually shed. Bombirdier take advantage of this by taking their discarded shed feathers and sticking them together to form a large pouch that is connected to the neck and held aloft at the tip by their own beak. This pouch is surprisingly strong and durable and can hold well over 100 pounds of material when fully loaded, and thus provides them a way to actually carry objects with them as they fly, not much unlike Pelipper. The difference, however, is that the objects that they can actually carry vary widely because of their large carrying capacity, so while they can just hold food and carry it to and from their nests, inanimate objects are also viable, and this allows them to be more efficient carriers when used. Sadly, this does not do them any favors in the transportation business, as their dark-type attributes stem from a sadistic nature, and they can be relatively hard to trust. Aside from carrying objects, what really makes them a nuisance is not their penchant for carrying, but their penchant for dropping anything and everything they can hold in the suspended pouch. It is thought that this habit originally developed as a way for them to capture and crack hard-shelled Pokemon like Choodle, whose hard shells would otherwise be hard for them to get past, and it has evolved over time into a favorite pastime as well, wherein they would take objects and simply drop them from high elevations for the sake of fun and fun alone. While this can make them a bit funny to observe in the wild, it also makes them dangerous because they won't be afraid to drop anything onto others, including heavy stones that could potentially kill anyone on the ground that would get hit by them. This not only allows them to learn a few rock-type attacks as they develop, and is helped out by their aggressive natures and keen vision, which gives them access to big pecs and keen eyes-based abilities respectively, but in rare cases, it can also grant them exclusive access to their signature hidden ability, Rocky Payload, which strengthens the power of their rock-type attacks, and thus gives them an extra avenue of attack that many first-time trainers will likely not see coming. As far as the stats are concerned, these birds do not have a ton of stamina to them and aren't the best when it comes to absolute mobility and special offense, but the lithe frames are still surprisingly sturdy and can take a noble amount of punishment while dealing some decent physical offense back, the base attack stat being above average for fully evolved flying type Pokemon, and the base defense and special defense stats being above average for fully evolved flying and dark type Pokemon, so they certainly have something to work with in practice.
These birds might look rather majestic to most, but you should be careful not to get underneath them if they are in flight. As someone that tends to not like being hit from where I can't clearly see things, the head is the last place I'd like to get hit, and that's why I have a special hatred for these foul birds. Their penchant for dropping things on everything and everyone for both survival and the sake of cruel fun makes them dark types that fit the bill of their type a little too well, and in turn makes them a threat worth avoiding if you can. The fact that they could potentially make better use of rock-type offense than most non-rock types only makes them that much more of a problem, though they can't thankfully be taken out of the sky like most other birds, and thus can be handled with the right counters in practice.
Though they can be a pain for some to deal with as a consequence of their behavior, Bombirdier are still unique and fascinating birds that can make the most of natural biology to attack others with ferocity and from an angle they rarely expect initially. Their capacity to hold a great deal of weight way up in the air before dropping it can in turn make them perfect for sneak attacks and well versed for them, so long as you can keep their behavior in control on your end.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure not to stand too close to them if you know they've got a payload in tow, as they might not think twice about injuring their own trainer if it at least gets a good laugh out of them.
Thank you all for watching this video. It always brings me great joy to see others enjoying the work I do to try and make the world of Pokemon and the fascinating creatures that lay inside of it feel as real as they possibly can. If you really enjoy my work, please feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, as I always do my best to respond to any and all comments that are left on my videos. In addition, if you wish to learn more about my work and help support it, you can find links to my Patreon page, as well as email and other contact information to my work on DeviantArt in the video description down below. Furthermore, you can find a link to my Discord server there as well if you'd like to get a first glimpse at what videos are coming up next and converse with other fans of the world of Pokemon. Thank you for taking the time to watch this, and have a wonderful rest of your day.